Welcome back to the Sooner Surge and another one signed, sealed, and delivered. This time, defensive back Mykel Patterson-McDonald, and just another great get for Oklahoma in this 24K class. And excited to watch him play. And Jackson, I know you've watched him play in the high school ranks, so tell us a little bit about him.
Well, whenever you watch Mykel play, the number one thing that stood out to me was he's not very big on the field, but he's very naturally instinctive, really. Like he can read plays well. There was a play I remember where he just kind of like knew what route concept was going to that side of the field. And he was able to almost have an interception, actually. So I just think his feel for the game super impressive. And as I said, he's a little bit of an undersized player. He's not very big in stature. So I would say he more than likely will play safety. But whenever I saw him play, he was lined up a lot more at corner. And obviously, he has experience playing a wide receiver. So obviously, if there is a need for him to go into the wide receiver room somehow, just due to depth issue, obviously he has that experience there. But I would just say the number one thing that struck me was how instinctive he is. He really is. He may not be someone that's going to contribute in year one or maybe not even year two, but I think he's one of those okay preps guys that's super undervalued. Maybe a guy just based upon his size and maybe because he played out of school like a Westmoore, right? That's not the most high profile school, especially in the 6A ranks here in Oklahoma. So I would say just that he's someone that probably won't contribute right away, but someone that has a chance to come in and contribute down the line just based upon his purely instinctive nature when it comes to playing football.
Yeah, and OU continues to get depth at that position at defensive back. And I love that Mike Kelly's got a great relationship with a lot of the guys in the class, which I think it's a huge thing, to have that relationship. And I'm excited to see how he develops at OU under Jay Valai, under maybe Brandon Hall, whoever it is, position coach, wherever he lines up. I'm excited to see how they use him, how they develop him. And like I said before, just gives them a lot of depth at that position. And like you said, Westmoore, yes, not the greatest high school team out there, but they did play some stiff competition. Yeah, they didn't win those games, but they played stiff competition. So this is a good get for Oklahoma, Jackson.
Right. And as you say that, I also think something else that stood out to me is he has no fear when it comes to football, right? He was not afraid to get down there, talk some trash, lay down the hits, right? And I think that's going to come into play because we all know the mindset and mentality that Brent Venables has as a defensive coach, right? He wants to completely make the opposing team suffer. And you see some of that from Mykel. He's not going to back down, and he doesn't care who's lined up on the opposite side of him. He's going to play his hardest. And, I think that just kind of speaks to why we see Oklahoma now on defense strain so much to the ball, play so hard, why they practice so hard. It's just due to the mindset and the mentality that Brent Venables has instilled to each and one of his players and what he's going to instill to his defensive players in this upcoming class as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think a lot of these players that go to OU as defensive backs, to me, I think the biggest thing for them to learn, in my opinion, is the zone defense. I mean, Brent Venables loves to play that zone defense on the back end, and I think that's probably the one thing they have to learn, and that's probably the hardest to learn because it's so much different than probably what they're used to in high school, right? And Brent Venables has a very complex defense. We all know that, and that's why when you mentioned earlier about him maybe not having a whole lot of the first few years, maybe not getting on the field a ton. But who knows at that? I mean, yeah, that could definitely be true, Jackson. But also, Brent Venables and company have been known to play a lot of youngsters. So I think it all just depends on how he picks it up and how he practices, obviously. But he's a guy that I think in a few years could be really good for their seniors and a good piece.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, I don't know, Jay, if you have a player comp for him. I don't have anyone off the top of my head. But I would say, I think he's kind of his own player. And as I've said, as he really did so much for that team at Westmoore his senior season, right? He played offense, played on the defensive side of the ball. He's played that free safety, probably played strong safety, probably played, or he has for sure played cornerback at will. Maybe he even played slot corner some, right? I think he's that good of a player. And as you said, Jay, the friendships he has, one of his closest friends is David Stone, right? They've grown up together. So obviously, whenever Mykel committed before David Stone did, he obviously was able to help kind of recruit Stone with the staff. And I'm glad that Mykel's a Sooner, and I think he's someone that we will be talking about saying, he's someone that was able to work and earn every single opportunity he's gotten in an Oklahoma uniform because of how grateful he is growing up in the state of Oklahoma, really Oklahoma being his first offer and everything like that.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. The Oklahoma kids getting somebody from Oklahoma, growing up right outside of Norman there, it means a lot to these guys. And I think that's feathering the cap for Brent Venables and what he's done in the OK high school ranks, Oklahoma high school ranks. He has really recruited very well there. And you look at, McDonald here, there's been plenty of players, okay, come to OU that weren't as highly recruited, but then they turn out to be really, really good. There's been plenty of those type players. So,
Yeah, that's true. And as you know, just as I've said, I think he's undervalued just due to the fact that maybe he plays out of school like a Westmoore and OK Preps in 6A. And actually, this was the best year that Westmoore had in a long time, could be in the history of their program. I mean, they lost in the first round of the playoffs to Union, who made the state semifinals. So, I mean, and really they put up a fight with Union up until the fourth quarter. So it's not like they were a bad team, right? They competed. They beat Jinx. They were able to hang 28 points on where I go to school at with the Bixby Spartans. So obviously their offense can score. Their QB is a dynamic player, but I mean, yeah, he's someone that we're going to be talking about as I've said, and as I think, someone that Oklahoma fans are grateful for the work, and he's going to wear that Oklahoma loud and proud on his chest and be grateful for it.
that's right. And there you go, Sooner fans, Sooner Nation. Another good one at Oklahoma, going to be a good one. And appreciate you guys watching the video. Thanks for subscribing as always. And another one signed, sealed, and delivered. Mykel Patterson-McDonald. Till next time, guys. Boomer.